So let's pick up from what Mr. Atiku Abubakar has been saying. He's been making allegations against the ruling party and the government of the day. First, he says that the government of the day is bribing opposition leaders with 50 million naira. But today, he's come out to say the Tinubu government is fighting opposition, not corruption. 2 days ago, according to him, he said the nation was jolted by the arrest of Professor Usman Yusuf, a fierce and unyielding social critic. In a statement released today by Mr. Atiku Abubakar, he says, though the charges against him have been festering since the previous administration, it is impossible to ignore the strong likelihood that his detention is politically motivated. The Tinubu government, despite being riddled with individuals who themselves are embroiled in scandals and investigations by both local and international authorities, continues to use the very machinery of the state to silence its critics. It weaponizes these pending investigations to suppress all opposition. It is absurd that while the administration shelters those under investigation, it continues to exploit state institutions to stifle dissent and under the false pretense of combating corruption. Even to the most inattentive, it has become glaringly clear that Tinubu is not waging a war on corruption. He is waging a war on the opposition, manipulating the system for his own political advantage. End of quote. So tonight, who are the people who are collecting 50 million naira bribe from the Tinubu government within the political leadership and the opposition in Nigeria? Tonight, I have joining me one of the leaders of the opposition in Nigeria, and he's the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Alhaji Yusuf Dantalle. He's live for us here in our studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Sharon.
Were you able to collect your 50 million naira? Because as the national chairman of IPAC, I imagine that you should be the first on the list.
Atiku Abubakar, he was the former vice president, an elder statesman, and a leader, and a father. We respect him so much. And if you wield such cap, we are putting on such cap, you have to be careful what you say, so that you don't unnecessarily heat up the polity. Yes, you might, you have your information as Atiku Abubakar, but that is not enough for you to come out and say all oppositions or all members of the opposition family collect 50 million. As far as I know, my parties are the Allied People's Movement. And today I manage the secretariat of the umbrella body of all the registered political parties in Nigeria. There is no national chairman, no leader anywhere collect any money that I know. So if you are coming out to say, okay, fine, so and so, you give a lead to what you are saying is different. You have succeeded in creating mutual suspicion. So what I think Atiku Abubakar should do, with all due respect, is to either apologize publicly to opposition leaders in totality the same way he made this allegation, or he identify and mention opposition leaders who are involved in this rubbish. But for us in the Inter-Party Advisory Council, we are not aware of what Atiku is insinuating, sincerely.
Is it possible that you have been hoodwinked? Maybe some people are collecting this money and you are not aware of them.
It is a possibility. Anything is possible in politics. But what I'm saying, I'm restricting this to the Inter-Party Advisory Council. That's the 19 registered political that I know today. There is no such sign that anybody is taking that. Have you been
speaking with the leaders of all the other opposition parties? Your colleague and the chairman?
I've called some chairmen. I've spoken to the national chairman of SDP. I've spoken to the national chairman of YPP. I've spoken to the national chairman of PRP, national chairman of AA, national chairman of NRM, and a host, a few, and YP. Nobody. Everybody seemed to be angry. It came to a point when I was not talking that as if I am involved in I know some of these things and I'm not ready to talk. It is embarrassing. And sincerely, we need apology from the vice president, or come out to identify, mention who are the people involved.
It wasn't mincing words, and I like Nigerians to get this right. Atiku Abubakar was not mincing words, and he was not dwelling or stating that he heard from someone. This was not a case of hearsay. He was very direct and very succinct in his statement. And this is what he said, and I'd like to show our viewers once again. And quoting what Atiku Abubakar said on the day at that Democratic Development Conference, where he said, quote, "I want to say it here publicly. I met with our political party leadership in the present opposition, and they told me flatly that this government gives them 50 million naira each. If we are not careful, we are talking to some of you here, but you are recipients of the 50 million naira from the APC government. Do we really want to fight for democracy?" Those are some of the words that Atiku Abubakar said on the day.
Thank you. Yes, now in this situation, he claimed that some opposition leaders, it is possible that some persons want to get money from Atiku too, and they went to him to say, okay, this is what this person is giving us, or these people are giving us, so you can give us something. But it will be fair to all of us in the opposition family that you mention or identify the people who are involved in this, because I don't know who is giving such money, and I don't know who is collecting it. I'm saying this between me and God.
Because the question here is that Nigerians are getting disappointed that those of you who are supposed to be in the opposition fight and put the feet of the ruling party to fire. Some of you have been carried away by bribery.
We are saying the same thing. And that is why this is capable of hitting up the polity unnecessarily. So as an elder statesman and as a leader, you are not supposed to make this kind of utterance, because you are hitting up the polity unnecessarily. Identify who, be sure of what you are saying, go directly to who the people you mean. But we are not aware of what he's saying. I don't know. And in the Inter-Party Advisory Council, for the other parties, I am not aware. But if he come, he will be helping us. If he identify, okay, this person, even if he doesn't want to mention directly, he can use a proxy to mention the people involved, or the parties, or the leaders involved in this thing. Sincerely, it is very unfortunate, and we are not happy about it.
Those who are worried now, Alhaji Dantalle, as a face and a leader of the political party umbrella body IPAC in Nigeria, that those who believe that the opposition should be more active. It does look like the opposition is sleeping. It does look like the ruling party is having a field day and doing whatever he likes, and nobody is checking the ruling party. What exactly is going on? Are those of you in the opposition, are you sleeping? Have you forgotten your duty to the nation, to the Nigerian people? Or is it that Nigerians need to remind you about your role as opposition?
Thank you so much. This government is less than 2 years, and we should be able to separate politics from governance. While we want power, we should at the same time do this thing within an atmosphere of decorum. There's no perfect world, there's no perfect administration everywhere. And it is always good that when you are in power, what you want to see tomorrow while you are not in power, you should be able to plan that in today. If what we want to see of some of the people, if what we want to see today is what we planted yesterday while we were in power, we won't be here today. So the same thing, those in power today, if what you want to see tomorrow when you are out of power, plan that thing today. If not the same thing you are, or others are complaining, you will be there to complain. Yes, we were talking about, or we have been talking about local government election all this while. You have people, or you have senators or governors who are now senators. But in the local government election, the same party that they won, or they came victorious, or the platform that give them the victory in the election, they could not win the councillorship position in one out of the multiple local government that gave them the seat as senators. So these are some of the things that we shouldn't look at laws or make laws that will benefit our immediate interest. So it has to be something that will be classical, that will cut across generations. Today, it is embarrassing that the President of the United States of America will come out and say, okay, we are deporting immigrants, illegal immigrants. A lot of Nigerians that we know or I know, they are afraid, believing that they will return them back home. Why? But if we have a better economy, if we have a better system, this will not happen. While we welcome it, we should see it as a wake-up call to see that we put things right in our own society. You can't be in power forever. The highest anybody have stayed, the president or a governor, 8 years, except in the Senate. So I call on all of us, whether you are in power or you are out of power, we should put Nigeria first in all we do.
In the real sense of it, is Nigeria on the right track? Putting Nigeria first. Is, as an opposition leader, is Nigeria on the right track under the Tinubu government?
One, I am not in government, but I am aware that today you are also aware that there is hardship, there is difficulty in an average Nigerian who that cannot feed or sustain himself with the basic salaries he gets. Look at the cost of energy and maybe agricultural inputs. Yes, the economy. But as from the explanation of people who are well grounded in ignorance, some of these things did not just happen now, but they have foundation from previous administration. Recently, we had the EFCC recovering about 700 or something building from one individual. Atiku, or from the previous administration. That was the claim. So these are some of this money. Okay, the same thing, I think last week or so, or 2 weeks ago, that some funds were being repatriated from the United States or UK from the former minister. So some of these things are the cumulative effect of what we did yesterday. So if we want a better tomorrow, we should start it now. And this is not just about for those who are in power today, for those who were there yesterday, and those who intend to come. We must put Nigeria forward. The country is bleeding. Sincerely, Nigeria is not on the right track, but we need to do better.
And there are those who are thinking that the conversation about 2027 is already here, and any smart politician will start planning ahead of 2027. We wouldn't wait. But the big question here is, what is the alternative? Is the opposition, are they thinking in that direction about what will be best for Nigerians in 2027 or after 2027?
Mr. Sheung, we must discuss as Nigerians. There was PDP in government, and a group of political parties or political actors came together to form APC, from the ADC, N50m, CPC, AP. So there are just three.
N50m,
came up to put, and then they told Nigerians, we will do this in 6 months, we'll do this in 5 years, we'll do this in 2 years, we'll do this, we'll create this employment. It never happened. So the same thing, the people who are in opposition, who are clamoring to take power today, were the people in power yesterday. So we can't continue to do one same thing and expect different results.
But the question
we have to be sincere.
Yeah, Alhaji Dantalle, if the people who are in power today are not doing it, doesn't look. And you said that Nigerians are suffering. Yeah, people who are impoverished.
I didn't say you are aware.
Yeah, I mean, you attest to the fact that Nigerians are.
Yes.
The question is that what are you doing as opposition to put the feet of the ruling party to fire, about what is going on in the country?
In the words of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, he said problems are like plants, they have roots. If you must solve a problem, you have to address the problem from the root. Most times what we do in this country is to address symptoms of problems. Okay, for instance, the government will embark on giving out foods, giving out money to people. No. For me, I think it is better to address, let the people be empowered to do what they can on their own. And how do you empower the people? You have to address the level of illiteracy in Nigeria today. Education have to be accessible. We have to begin to look at infrastructure. Electricity or energy. If energy is not accessible to people, it will be difficult to industrialize. Yes, our leaders will go, or people in power will go out of the country to canvass for investment in Nigeria. No investor will come to invest in a society where the enabling environment for investment is not conducive. Who will come to invest? I'm sorry. This thing it is the entire sector. We have to look at the judiciary. We have to look at the power sector, everything. Because if you don't respect your own laws, the man who wants to come and operate using your own laws will be afraid. Because if you make your laws and break your laws and do what you want, I won't trust you to work within your own laws. So if you cannot provide energy and the cost of energy, how do I industrialize?
Let me ask you, it's almost 2 years of this administration. Let's assume this administration is going to be doing another exam in 2 years, but we are almost entering into the midterm of this administration. Within this 1 year plus, on almost 2 years, how would you judge, or how would you grade this government? Poor, pass, excellent, or what way? Let's assume 10 being the highest mark. How would you grade this government?
Thank you. Let me lay a foundation here. When I bought the SIM card I'm using today, I bought it 33,000 about in 2009 when it came.
Yeah, okay,
when it came, yes, your Obasanjo. I bought it. Today's SIM card is almost free. We at times they even give you airtime. When the issue of hike in petroleum came, my friend approached me and said I should bring one of my vehicles so that they will take it and convert it to CNG. I said, no, I won't. He said, why? I said, the price of petrol will naturally come down. And why? Because people will begin to innovate. The people who are in the petroleum industry today will not want to be out of business. Electric vehicles will begin to come up. I don't use electricity in any of my houses. I use solar, and they're doing well. So now they are losing business. More Nigerians are beginning to diversify into some of these things, and that will begin to make the people in power sit up. Because by the time your petrol becomes useless, nobody wants to buy, is interested in your petroleum, nobody is interested in your CNG. And people are beginning to improvise. You see the level of the number of electric vehicles coming to Nigeria this year is far higher than what we had 10 years ago. We don't even know anything about it. So now I believe the Nigerians that I know, or that we know, Nigerians will not allow themselves to go down. We will improvise.
But how do you grade them? 1 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest.
The thing is, I'm not in government, but it is fair if I'm in government, because before now, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi was the CBN governor. While he was, and that was like 15 years ago, and he said, with the volume of money stolen and the absence of accountability in our economy or in the petroleum sector, Nigerians, the next administration it is the next administration, and in the next administration that Nigerians will know what is poverty. The same thing Okonjo-Iweala said. So for me, whatever happened today, I always reflect on where it started from.
But do you think we're on the right track?
Well, I believe so.
You think this government is doing what is right?
I believe so.
I mean, I'm looking at the camera, and I'm imagining the faces of Rashida, Udokama, Rebecca, wherever they may be watching, Rashid, Shegun, and the rest who are watching in every part of this country, the kind of thing they're going through, whether or not the money in their pocket, the food on their table, whether or not they can afford, whether there is hope for them tomorrow. What they want to know is that maybe or maybe not, the government that they have in power today is on the right track. Maybe the suffering of today is going to be reduced, or is going to dwindle as we go down the lane. But when they are not assured that the government knows what it's doing or can take them to the destination that they envision, that is where the problem is.
Mr. Sean, we are still going back to what I said earlier. We must learn not to address symptoms of our problems. We must, as long as we continue to address the symptoms of our problem, and we don't go back to the basics of the problem.
So we cannot blame Tinubu for the problem of Nigeria today?
No.
But his party has been in power for the last 10 years or so.
Excuse me. If we must answer this question, we have to look at first the electoral system. How do people emerge? The electoral laws. Who are the people in power? Who are the people in the Senate? How did they get there? Who are the local government chairmen? How did they get there? Who elected them? So until we are able to address these things as Nigerians, we will not get out of where we are.
Let me allow you to respond to what Atiku Abubakar said today. And the former vice president is making an allegation. He's saying that there is intimidation, that this government is not fighting corruption, but this government is fighting opposition. He said, though the charges against Professor Yusuf has been festering, but he believes that the Tinubu government, despite being riddled with individuals who themselves are embroiled in scandals and investigations by both local and international authorities, continues to use the very machinery of the state to silence its critics. Do you think that this government, according to Atiku Abubakar, is weaponizing and using investigation or the agencies of anti-corruption to fight opposition for voices?
Professor Yusuf, I listen to him a lot in his public outing, and he's someone who stands about opposing things that are not, he thinks are not right, trying to see that things are, he's a nationalist, let me use that word, and pro-masses. But then, I won't say the government is weaponizing, the government is intimidating opposition. I don't know the case the government have against him. But even though, if I thought the government is trying to silence opposition, Nigerians will resist at the appropriate time.
So you don't think it's obvious just yet?
No.
But you don't think opposition is threatened?
No. The reason is a few of the crises we have in the political parties now is the inability of some of the party leaders to abide by their own internal constitution. So you don't blame that on the government. So if you do what is right in your party, you won't have that problem. So, but if the government, if this government wants to stifle opposition, Nigerians will resist at the appropriate time.
So you look at the case of this Professor Yusuf, you look at the case of Omoyele Sowore, and
Omoyele Sowore, his problem is with the police. And you know, Omoyele Sowore has what he has always said about the current Inspector General of Police is that you are sitting there illegally for this reason, for that reason. And the problem is with the police. So for me, even while I don't know the details of these things, I don't know Omoyele Sowore to be a criminal. I know him to be a pro-Nigerian. So if the IG is doing, if he's attacking or trying to arrest and detain Omoyele Sowore, he will be out of that place. How long will you stay? You will see the same thing. Many people who have done it.
So you don't think it's true that the Tinubu government is stifling?
I wouldn't want to.
And the voice of dissent.
I wouldn't want to conclude at this point. No, I will not.
All right. Yeah. And based on that, Professor Yusuf, that is not conclusive. It can be conclusive.
I will not conclude at this point.
Alhaji Yusuf Dantalle is the leader of opposition and the umbrella body of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Thank you.